This is a part 2 video to my breaking into school at night for test answers video. So if you haven't watched part 1, I strongly suggest that you do that so you can get a better understanding of this video. But if not, here's a clip from part 1. The light in the room turns on. I feel the coldest chill down my spine. Oh, what? That didn't make sense and you don't get the plot of the first video? Yeah. Then click the eye and watch the The noise gets louder, louder, and louder. The locked door unlocks, the door swings open, and then I'm greeted by the last person I expected to see. Not a random teacher, not Mrs. B, not the principal, but a janitor who wears high heels for some reason. That doesn't seem very practical. She looks at me and says, hey, you are not supposed to be here. This door was closed, and I'm sure your principal would not like this. What is your name? And for goodness sake, what is in your hand? Hand? I looked down and realized when I panicked earlier, I just ran to the door without putting the test that I stole back where it was supposed to go. I look at the janitor, but instead of showing the immense level of dread and fear in my soul, I tell her, who's stealing test answers? What? I'm actually in that after school social studies class over there, and I realized that I left my homework and was just getting it. Okay, well go on then. She signals me out and I leave, while still holding on to the test because I had to. I told the janitor that it was my homework. What was I gonna do? Put it back with her still there? So I take it and hide out in the bathroom and wait for the janitor to leave, because there is no way that I'm stealing this test from a classroom and taking it home. That is a whole new level of trouble that I don't even want to kind of deal with. So I waited and waited and waited. This lady was definitely shooting for Employee of the Month because she was going to town, man. She was cleaning that room forever. I waited so long that my social studies class actually ended. So I'm peeking out of the bathroom, seeing everyone leave the school, the hallway lights turn off, and I'm just like, did she run out of Fabuloso? Like, what is taking her so long? About 15 more minutes pass, and finally she finishes, and I book it so the light doesn't turn off and on again. I put the test back and dip. I go home, drop my book bag at my bed, and think, I just snuck into a classroom after school hours, stole a test, got caught, lied my way out of it, and came out untouched. I'm really about this life, yo. I need a teardrop tatted on my face like right now. I take all the answers from my phone and write them on a small cheat sheet and spend the rest of the night working on an animation. I for real have the answers, yo. What did I need to study for? I go to sleep, wake up the next day, and I genuinely feel hyped to take this test. I for real have the answers, yo. So I sit in my desk with the utmost confidence. The packet gets handed to me. I open the test, pick up my pencil, and put that whole right back down because I did not know not one thing on the test. But yo, what's the problem? You for real have the answers. I for real have the answers to the wrong version of the test. The test that I stole was an A test, and I'm taking a B test. Since it was dark and I was anxious when I broke in, I was too goofy to notice the difference between the tests, and now I just did all of this for nothing. And I'm screwed because Mrs. B is one of those teachers who make two completely different versions of the tests. So the answers that I had were completely useless. Why does she have this much time on her hands? But I can't panic because once again, if I fail this test, I am not graduating. So I think of my options. I come up with a final plan. It's a risky one, but I'm desperate. It's all or nothing. So first I have to make it look like I at least kind of attempt the test. So I fill in answers, I start to write random numbers and equations on the paper, all over my scratch sheets and the show work boxes, everything. The bell rings and I walk up to Miss B and tell her that I have 2 more problems and I ask if I can show up to school the next morning and get it done. Mrs. B, if you're watching this, you are the GOAT, man. She says yes. I leave and I head to my after-school U.S. history class. Unbeknown to her, I actually wrote down the test questions on a piece of paper. I then take this paper to the library, type them up, print them out, and take said paper to my after-school class because the U.S. history teacher is also an ex-calculus teacher. Honestly, they should have passed me on my problem-solving skills alone. I tell my U.S. history teacher, I can't really remember her name, but I do remember that she was unironically built like the mom from Dexter's Laboratory, so I'll name her Mrs. D. I tell Mrs. D that I needed help on my calculus homework, and bro, we sat there for 25 minutes doing every single problem. She showed work in everything, and I didn't know not one thing that she was doing, but I had it. I had a completed cheat sheet. I go home, I go to sleep, wake up the next day, and I genuinely feel hyped to take this test. I for real have the answers, yo. So I sit at my desk with the utmost confidence. The packet gets handed to me. I open the test, pick up my pencil, and put that hoe right back down. I'm playing. I take the test, finish it, turn it in, and walk out of the classroom. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that I passed. I go to the next class, sit down, and just look out of the window. I see the clouds. Let out a sigh of relief and just relax. I was living in constant stress for like 3 days straight. It feels like this huge weight was just lifted off of my shoulder. Hi, is Johannes in this classroom? What? Oh, Mrs. B would like to speak with you. Instant fear fills my body. I get up and flashes of every incriminating act that I've done in the past 3 days just run through my head. I just know I was caught. I walk down the hallway slowly. I look at the door down the hall and it just feels ominous. I feel as if with every step I make towards the door, I get weaker and weaker. It was almost as if I was on death row walking towards the room that I would breathe my last breath in. I walk towards the doorknob, barely strong enough to twist it open. I know I messed up. I open the door and I not only see Mrs. B, but I see the janitor standing there too. Mrs. B looks at me. Ah, there you are, Yo-Yo. She grabs my test, looks at me, and I know that she knows. She then says, sit down. We need to talk. Psych! Imagine if I ended the video there, but no, I'm not, I promise. I sit down, I look at the janitor, I look at Mrs. B, and then... Anyways, you have a good one, B. You too. I will see you at the book club, yes? Girl, you know it. Have a good one. Oh, thank God they were just talking. Yo, I wanted to call you in and say, congratulations, you passed the test. I know it was stressful for you. Good job. Oh, man, I thought the janitor snitched on me, yo. I was so worried. She hands me the test, shakes my hand, and I go to head out. But right as I leave, Yo, one more thing. She looks at me and winks. Make sure you thank Mrs. D as well. Man, shout out to Mrs. B. I'm sure she found out either by the janitor or the fact that I literally wrote random answers on the test that I'm sure she looked at just for them to magically be correct the next day. But maybe Mrs. B knew math just didn't click in my head and she saw the effort that I was putting into passing the test and decided to grade me on my effort as opposed to my actual math skill. Or she just didn't feel like dealing with my incompetent ass 3 days before the school year ended. Either way, if it wasn't for her, I probably would not be here today. And yeah, that's the story. That is how I graduated high school. Yo, let's go. I say what I'm making, they do not believe me. My life's a movie, you here for the screen. And I said it. Spend more on a win than they got in the debit. If you sleep on me, I'll make you regret it. Straight to the top, nigga, that's where I'm headed. That's where I'm headed. I don't gotta flaunt the wealth. Nah, no cap. I'd rather get it in silence and let the shit speak for itself. But let me just flex for a bit. I dropped your check on a fit for the end of the year when I caught me a Tesla. I'm not fucking short, isn't it? Hey, I'm cool with being alone. I got it all on my own. No cap. Fuck, I look like spending hours with a shorty on my phone. That's what I'm all sighted. Smoothly. I pull it, we making a movie. If you really want me gone, nigga, shoot me. Give me the paper, I'm counting the loosely. Not even close to the peak, you forget that I'm 20. I'm making $1 million for I'm 23. I do not care if you do not believe, cause bitch, I'm a goat and I know what you see.